everyone, Exeter Rider, hope you're doing well. Now this week is this one. It's the 2022 BSA Goldstar 650. Okay, so let's start with a bit of history of BSA. Now, for those who don't know, BSA stands for Birmingham Small Arms. They were a company who built rifles and guns in Birmingham back in the day, and they moved over to making motorcycles. Now, in between times, they did team up with Triumph, Villas and Norton as well. But if you want to look into the history more on that, then it is quite interesting how the company developed and unfortunately demised in the end. So how did the Goldstar come about? In 1956, they bought out the DBD34 model, which was a 500cc at the time. And it was a bike which could do up to 110 miles per hour, which back in the day, very, very quick indeed. And no doubt it will become quite iconic again, because there's not many bikes around like this now with that single engine big thumper there. So, and that in itself gives this bike a lot of character. Now, a lot of people are comparing it to the Interceptor, and I can see why, but for me, the only part that it shares with the Interceptor is the engine capacity. I think a better comparison, believe it or not, is actually the Royal Enfield Classic 500. That's much closer to compare it with when you consider everything about it being a big single thumper. Some people are saying about the big radiator. Believe me, when you see it in real life and you ride it for a matter of 5 or 10 minutes, you really take no notice of it anymore. That is just, when you first see it, it really sticks out. Apart from that, it really isn't a problem, so I shouldn't worry about that too much. Everything else about it, the actual finish is okay. It is definitely a bike which, if you seek, you will find. There are imperfections here, but sometimes, and certainly with this style bike, biking isn't always about perfection, is it? What I would call Japanese perfection. Sometimes it's just nice to have a bike which has been put together by hands, by people who are passionate about building a good bike. And this is what this bike screams out at me, is that it really has been built by people who are passionate and really want this brand to work. Over here we have the clocks, which start like so. So it goes around the normal way, but it starts at 2 o'clock on the Rev Bar here, and it goes around this way rather than starting in the conventional place. And same with the miles per hour here. As you can see, it goes around this way. Now, I thought in the beginning that was something that was going to bother me. And it just seems a bit odd to me. But in fact, I don't mind it actually. Warning lights up here, so we've got the side stand down light and the neutral light. Gains most of its power from, under sort of 4,000 RPM. And even then, after that, it tends to keep chasing more. And it's actually got, kind of feels like the sort of power that you get from a T100 with the high torque engine. It just always seems to be there, ready to go, even at low revs. You haven't got to chase the power or the top end. For me, I really like the way that the Classic 500 rode. And I'm getting that all over again now. Not quite with the nostalgia, obviously, because it is a newer bike and it is a different setup, but I can see what they were getting at with this bike. I can see where they were heading with it and what the audience that they wanted to capture. And I like it. The 650 engine is almost middle of the road, perfect real world. They've got those clocks down there which make it quite a unique bike. The seat is very comfortable, very flat, not a huge amount of cushioning, but it's still very comfortable. I honestly think I could probably ride this all day long and still be okay for a ride the next day. The vibrations are next to nothing, although you do know that you're sat on a big thumper. It does let you know that, but at the same time, you know, there's no vibrations, none at all coming through the bars, which is quite clever. A little bit coming through the seat, and again, you can just leave it in a high gear and just let it pull you away. Weight-wise, there's nothing intimidating about this bike. I mean, I'd say that it feels a lot lighter than any other of these type of bikes. And yes, I'm talking about the Interceptor and the T100 and all them lot. So yeah, it feels really light. So if you're somebody who doesn't want to give up riding, but you don't want, you know, and you like a bike like this, but you don't want the weight of a bike like this, then this is almost a perfect option for you. And as I say, going out for rides like this, it's ideal. And you know what? I'd even say that this would be quite a good commuter, actually. It'll be a bike which you can easily pull out the garage and just go for a ride. Also, handling wise, as I say, at low speed, the bike is so light. It really is easy to handle and tip in and out and in and out. No problems at all there whatsoever. Absolutely fine. Very light feeling. And I mean, the turning circle is pretty damn good as well, actually, all things considered. So yeah, handling wise at slow speed is very, very good. We do have a grab handle strap on the back seat here, and I just want to show you what it's like to push around. And it really is, it's really easy, really light. The bike is relatively low as well. So as I say, backing it backwards and forwards, whereas some of the other bikes in this league is actually, well, they are quite heavy. This one really isn't bad at all. Side stand is very easy to pop up and down, like so. Just hop on the bike and away you go. Mirrors, well, you kind of forget they're there. They're kind of tucked away a little bit too much for my liking. You have to actively move your head to look in each mirror, because they come back quite a long way, you see. So. The switchgear is okay, but I've heard other people say that it looks a bit cheap, and I know exactly where they're coming from there. Saying it looks cheap is probably the wrong word, but I think they just could have perhaps injected a bit more colour on that switchgear, and it would have made a difference. And of course it is something that you're always looking at as well, isn't it? So you kind of want that bit right, really, but it's still functional, it still works fine, but it just isn't up to the same quality look that the rest of the bike has. But that engine is sweet, very, very nice. Made by Rotax. Now they've made engines for many other brands as well, Husqvarna, KTM, BMW. So they are quite an experienced engineers. The only thing I would say is I think that will be make and break for this bike, is this engine. I think they need to make sure that that's right more than anything else on this bike, because that will be make or break, I think. I mean, at the moment, to me, it seems fine, but it's what it's like down the road, of course, but time will tell on that one. Gear change is very light. In fact, I'd almost describe it as loose. I think that's a... Don't misinterpret what I mean there. What I mean is that it's so easy to flick up and down on the gear shifter there that, yeah, it feels quite light, very, very light. There's a slight reach for the handlebars over the tank, but I'd say I mean, I'm 5'8", I've got a 30-inch inside leg measurement, and I'm just leaning forward about 2 inches, it feels like, rather than being bolt upright. So let's talk about some of the other bits and bobs. The suspension, feels like the tolerances have been made really tight on the suspension, actually. It's kind of quite firm. I would say it's firm. The braking is provided by Brembo, and you know, Brembo have never failed me. They're always really good brakes, and this is no exception. We got ABS on this bike. Try the brakes. Yeah, they work really well. Finding neutral, no problem every time. And there's our little neutral light down there, look. It's quite good having that twin spark, because even when you demand the power, that even a single, it doesn't choke. It's just there instantly, it's ready to go every time. And that's because the fuel's getting injected in, and it's just such a good fire in the cylinder that yeah, just fires really well. That pea shooter exhaust, it really does sound quite good, considering that it's got to be Euro 5. It's not loud, but it's got a nice rich pop to it. Quick 0 to 60 test here, folks. There it is. Pretty damn quick really for a single cylinder. So yeah, for speed reasons, I don't think you'll be, you know, it's more than adequate. It does go like a 650 parallel twin. I'd even argue it felt a bit quicker, so whether that's a psychological thing, I don't know, but it'll easily take you up to 60, and there's still loads more left as well. So it's a 5-speed box, but doing well, just over, slightly over 60 here. Let's drop it down a little bit. I mean, it's very, very relaxed. We're at 4,000 revs, but it doesn't actually, you know, it doesn't really feel like 4,000 revs. It feels more like, no, 2,000, I'd say. Very, very comfortable at higher speeds. More than what I was expecting it to be, actually. So this is the BSA Goldstar 650. Now, let me tell you first of all what the underlining point that I really like about this bike is that there are so many unique features which you don't get on other bikes. Whether it's the clocks, which start at 2 o'clock and work themselves around, or whether it's the offset fuel cap, which is metal, I might add as well, which is a nice touch rather than a plastic one. It's not hinged, it does fully remove, but it does the job. To sit on the bike, easy to get your leg over, pull it up, and I'm 5'8" and I got a 30-inch inside leg measurement, and I'm flat-footing the bike. So the actual seat height is 780mm, quite low for somebody who's 6 foot plus tall. But in fact, I would say that this, they've got that absolutely spot on, the way that this could work for a shorter rider or a taller rider. The grips are stamped BSA as well. You know, there's a lot of BSA nods all the way through the design of the bike. We have the 5-stage adjustable rear shocks here, a grab handle here with a little British flag on it, which is quite nice, which brings back the heritage of the Goldstar. The engine does actually look really nice. I mean, you've got that nice big head on there as well, which looks great. I mean, the finish on the frame is a kind of a matte sort of colour, which is okay, looks all right. Again, it's not perfect. We're not going to get the perfection that other brands give you, because you're not paying the money that the other brands are charging. So let me tell you the price of the bikes. It starts out at 6,500 for the green colour. This one here is 6,800, as is the Dawn Silver and Midnight Black. If you want the Legacy Edition, which has a silver sheen, it's £7,000. So for me, the prices are really good for what you get. The max torque on this bike is at 55 Newton meters at 4,000 RPM, and the max power is 45 horsepower at 6,500 RPM. It's a 5-speed gearbox, which the ratios are perfect for the power and the torque of the engine. The front wheel is a 18-inch and the rear wheel is a 17. Fuel tank is 12 litres and it should easily get 70 miles to the gallon. Now, if you want to take somebody else on the bike as well for a day out, then the Pillion seat is nice and wide, much like the rider's seat. It's really quite comfortable, and it's got all the power that you need for carrying a Pillion. It certainly turns heads as well. You know, I've been stopped twice now by people who used to have bikes and then they don't anymore. And I think the target market for this could be the people that would normally buy an Interceptor or maybe even a T100 Triumph. And I think this sits really nicely in the middle we were always lacking that middle ground there. You know, it seemed to be from the Interceptor right up to a T100, and it's never that 650 that everybody wanted. And you know, in a single format, should I say. And this is it, you know, this is exactly what a lot of people would be looking for. Have an Interceptor or BSA, I want to know what that Rotax engine is going to be like. And Rotax have been around for years, they're good engineers, but I still need that confidence, you know, down the line that it is going to be okay. Sure it will be, but as with all new brands, I had it in 2018 with the Interceptor when I first took that out and done a video on it. And people were saying, oh, you wait and see what it's like, you know, 2 years down the line. They turned out fine, and I've no doubt that this will as well. I really like what BSA stand for and what they've brought to the market on this one, bringing back that proper big thumping single. Now, what you guys want to know, is there anything that I don't like? Now, this is my own personal opinion, so please find out for yourself, okay? Overall, the finish is great. I mean, it's not as good as the Triumphs, we've already said that, and that's understandable, you're paying a lot more money. You're bound to get tarnishing at some point with age. You get that with any bike, but more so with bikes that are exceptionally good value. So that would be on my mind all the time. And the only thing I honestly don't like, really, and the switchgear I can live with as well, the only thing I don't really like is the USB door, believe it or not. It's just on a plastic clip, and it feels like the more you lift it up and down, the weaker the plastic's going to get, and it's just going to snap off. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but that's the way it feels. Bike is going to do really well as long as they do their part on BSA's side of things and the dealership. They seem to be getting their ducks in a row. Parts are going to be available at some point from Fowler's in Bristol. They're a very good company to deal with, and yeah, got a very good reputation. They seem to be going in the right direction. It feels a little bit slow. Certainly the launching of the bike took a little while, and you kind of miss the impulse buyers then, which is such you know, a big market as well. You know, once you launch a bike, you know, you really want to get them out quickly. It has been worth the wait, and I do like the bike. I hope they do well. Thank you very much for watching. If you could give it a like, that would help me a lot. And subscribe as well for more videos, which I'll be bringing out during the year. So if you want a retro style bike, it's a joy to ride, comfortable, light, something different. It's a bit of a head turner, a bit of a conversation piece. Then you're on the right track. If you want a bike which mimics the old bike, well, of course you're not going to get that. That's what people want, but you're not going to get that with Euro 5 and ABS and all the other things, which to me is a good thing. But I wanted to say huge thanks to Bridge Motorcycles for the opportunity of riding this bike. It's brilliant that I've been able to get on this. I've been longing to get on one, and they let me have the chance, so thank you very much for that. They do have a BSA demo. They do have a cafe as well, Cafe 53, which is sells some lovely food, lovely drinks and coffees and all those sort of things. So big thanks to them. Honda, Triumph, Yamaha, Suzuki, the Big Four, and BSA. So yeah, come down and have a look. There's plenty to look at. You can easily kill an hour down here. And yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much to them for that. And I'll see you next week. Thanks a lot, guys.